Deep within the heart of Ontario's wild backcountry lies a place where maps start to fade and trails turn to whispers. This is Algonquin Park, 7,600 square kilometers of untamed wilderness. And hidden within its borders are lakes rumored to hold the holy grail of Canadian fishing.
Oh, that's a beauty. Huge female.
Giant brook trout.
Look at that.
There's a 20-inch native Algonquin brook trout.
No records, no reports, just rumors. Stories passed between paddlers and old-timers sitting around roaring campfires. This is the Average Joe's fishing show, and this season we're headed off the beaten path, deep into the unknown, with nothing but canoes, cameras, and a dream.
Look at that.
No guides, no guarantees. Just us, the wilderness, and a chance, maybe, at the fish of a lifetime. This is season 1 of Algonquin Unknown. Brookies or bust.
Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brookies or Bust, Season 1, Episode 5. My name is Brennan Sobalski, and today I'm on the hunt for brook trout with my dog Remy. Her and I are in here together for the day. A little bit of a late start, getting at it, but yeah, looking forward to crossing off another new lake. Now, the lake that we're headed into today does have a little bit of information online. It does say that there is brook trout in it on Jeff's maps and Fish Online, but I want to put that to the test today. This lake doesn't have any official routes to it. There's no portage trails into it. Right now I'm on an old logging road. It's warm. It's supposed to be 20 degrees today. Bluebird skies, and hopefully the fish are biting. So stay tuned. This is going to be a good one. Here we go. So, as you guys know from the last few episodes of this season, Brookies or Bust is kind of our way that we were able to come and test a bunch of lakes that we've been curious about for years, but that we figured we'd run the risk of getting skunked at. With the whole premise of this series, we don't have to catch fish, right? But we're hoping to every time. And it very well could happen again today. So this bushwhack could be absolutely worthless, but it's not, because I get to color in another lake on my map, say that I've been here, and see if the rumors are true. Because this lake in particular, like I said, has a little bit of info online. And I have heard word of mouth stories. All of the word of mouth stories have been quite dated. I heard of a monster coming out of here about 50 years ago. That I've also heard of smaller ones being in here, so I'm not sure. It is an old stalker lake from, I think, the 60s. So, did the trout naturalize? Are they still in here? Like I said, these word of mouth rumors are 50 years old, so hard to say if they were catching stock trout way back then, or if the lake does hold naturals, but we're gonna figure it out. This is what I'm going through. Not easy walking. Oh, I'm about 3 kilometers into this now. And the first maybe 3/4 of a kilometer were an old logging road, but now it's just been bushwhacking through swamps and hard work. The lake should be right up there. You can see the sky's opened up and it's downhill. I think we'll be there, Remy. Let's go. There's the first glimpse of blue through the trees. Nice. Alrighty, the canoe is set up. Remy is ready. I am ready. And we are hopefully going to catch a trout. So that's a good sign. There's bait. There's inflowing water. Now, a couple things that we have a harder time knowing is there spawning and is there oxygen? So I'm not a scientist. I can't test if there's oxygen or not, but tons of bait here in the shallow. But yeah, does the lake have oxygen? Does it have spawning? Hard to know. But we're gonna figure out if it has fish or not in the next few hours. So I brought my deeper today. Right here, easily transportable. Just sitting in the pocket of my canoe seat. I've got the arm for it so I can do some trolling. But this time of year, early spring, it shouldn't have to be too deep. I mentioned this last year that the first couple weeks of the season, having a fish finder isn't quite as critical. I mean, it always helps just to map out a lake and know if it has depth, because I have no idea about this lake for depth. There's no depth maps on it, so I don't really know what to expect. The whole thing could be a 10-foot beaver pond for all I know. We're gonna give it a try though, Remy and me. Better gear up my rod before I get too far out and blown around. I've got my favorite brook trout rod. So this is the Shimano Sensolite. It's an 8-foot light with a moderately fast action, and it loads up when you're trolling. The trout pretty much hook themselves. Paired up with it, I've got the Sedona 2500 HG reel. We tried to get a 5th episode last year. It didn't pan out, but us being silly, we said we were doing 5 episodes. So here I am, ending off season 1, and we are just about to begin season 2 of filming. So if you've enjoyed season 1, make sure to let us know in the comments, because it's helpful to hear your guys' opinions and know if you enjoy the content that we're making, right? So yeah, before we get too far into this video, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and please subscribe. We work hard to make this content. It's not like we're just backing a boat down to a lake somewhere, right, and fishing. I just walked 45 minutes through the bush, 2.5 kilometers with a canoe on my head and all my fishing gear on my back to get in here to potentially not catch any fish. So we appreciate every subscriber that we have, and we're very thankful for all the support that we continue to get. But we're looking forward to making a lot of great content in the future, so you don't want to miss it. Make sure to subscribe. My lure of choice today that I'm going to start with is the Williams Ridgeback in the Envy pattern. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, since I'm solo and I can't really cast and troll, is I'm going to cover some water by trolling. I'm going to map out the shoreline with the deeper. Now, by mapping it out, I'll be able to tell where the structure is going to be, or I might even mark structure on here. But if I can cruise the shoreline in about 10 feet of water and kind of figure out, see where the steepest drops are, that'll really help me to know where the structure is, right? If I'm sticking in 10 feet and all of a sudden 10 feet comes directly to the bank, well then I know that's steep, deeper shoreline. There's likely going to be rocks. Generally with deep shoreline, there's rocks. So that's kind of the plan. Deeper is in, clamp down, in the water, ready to go. Nice looking lake though, first time being here. There we go. Heard lots of wildlife on the way in. Heard some partridge drumming. Heard the frogs peeping. Lots of frogs. So there's lots of depth. So far, the first shoreline I've trolled, it's almost all 20 feet. I'm not very far from shore. So I'd imagine the middle of the lake is probably fairly deep. So I know the main inflow for this lake is right here to my right. Sounds like a pretty decent amount of water coming down this gully here. And it's deep here too, which is good. That's a good sign. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna troll the lake, but this is definitely a spot that I'm gonna key in on if I don't catch anything trolling. And I'm gonna come back and cast right here because there's inflowing water, which is generally gonna be warmer this time of year. And there's depth right here. Lots of weeds, pretty big weeds. Yeah, there's a lot of weeds in this bay. So I may be incorrect by saying this. I'm not a scientist, but if there's a lot of plant life in a lake, which I've noticed there's a lot of, they're dead from last year, but pretty much anything under 10 feet of water here, there's lots of big weeds. So does big weeds mean good oxygen? Or what does big weeds mean? Does it mean bad oxygen or good oxygen? In my thought process, I would think that lots of weeds means good oxygen. Keep your eyes on the surface, because if you start seeing jumps or swirls or anything, any sort of life, it's probably a spot that you'd want to go and cast. Now I don't see anything. It's a little early for them to be surfacing on bugs, but a few more weeks and that'll be the time to watch the surface. So whenever this video is coming out in a few weeks, I believe it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow, keep your eyes open. If you watch this and you're going in the park, then keep your eyes open, because that's where they're gonna be, is on the surface. Well, done a pass of the whole lake. You can see this is the whole lake. Not really hiding anything here, but to no avail so far. Now what I've learned just from doing this is that the first side I went down in front of me is the deep shoreline. The whole end of the lake behind me and into that far end was quite shallow, sub 10 feet. And I was quite a bit further from shore than I was over here. So that's good to know. Now I can kind of figure out where I want to fish. Now, like we said, spring fishing, you don't want to fish too deep. I've been trying to stay sub 10 feet for the first pass. There was a few spots where I was up into 22, 23 feet. But that was just paddling a straight line, so that shows me, okay, that spot's deep, that spot's deep. Now I know, right? So I can break down the lake a little quicker now. So now the question is, do I keep trolling? Or do I start just kind of fan casting towards the shore? Might as well try something different. You got to cover all the variables, right? Well, is it the lure that wasn't working? Maybe. I'm going to throw on the W30 in gold. Remy's curious about what it is, but yeah, hell of a lure. So I'm just curious, for all of you out there that do similar stuff like this and try new lakes that you don't know have fish or not, like nothing confirmed. How long would you give it? How long would you fish a lake before you're like, hey, they're not here or they're not biting. You know, like, how much time do you give it before you call it quits? I'm gonna give this like 4 hours today. That's the plan. I think that's plenty. It's optimal weather, so I think in 4 hours, if I cast enough and troll enough and have a lure in the water enough, I should at least see a follow or get a bite. But it's hard to say. Even lakes that I know have trout, I've gone to plenty of times, like lots of different lakes, even stocked lakes, and fished them for hours and not get anything. So the series is cool for the fact that we're trying lakes that we don't really know about, but it's also not 100% science, right? Like, there very well could be plenty of fish in here and they're just not biting. Maybe they fed really heavy yesterday, or maybe they fed this morning. That's why I love trout fishing, because it's not like bass or pike where pretty well on any given day you can get something to bite. Like with bass fishing, it's, if you can't get a bass to bite, I think it's you that's the problem, not the bass. Trout though is difficult. Even on a perfect day, they can be very finicky. That's why I love it. It's a challenge. I'm fishing this inflow now that I mentioned earlier. I saw some minnows jumping in here in the weeds, so you never know. Maybe the trout are just stacked right here. It was deep water when I was cruising by it earlier, so there's minnow jumped right there. So I've seen a lot of minnows surfacing right here at this inflow. Casted a bunch, didn't get any bites. So I'll hop on the troll again. I'm keeping on the W30, nice and light, so I'm gonna troll shallow, but I know there's a lot of weeds here. Lots and lots of weeds. Looks like an old oil can from back in the logging days. Right here along the shore. There's thousands of minnows. Tons and tons of them. So many minnows. So I got a good tip for you guys. If you're ever solo in the backcountry and it's windy, first of all, I sit, as you can see, in the front of the canoe backwards, because that helps to kind of center your position in the canoe if you're in a tandem canoe. But then, point being, what will help to keep you from blowing around all over the lake is that right there. I put about a 50-pound rock right in the front of the canoe, or back of the canoe. It just helps to balance out the weight and keep it more centered, right? So then you're not blowing around like crazy. But we're gonna walk up this creek, Remy and I, and get up to this pond and see what's up there. See, that's where the young of the year speckles, they would come up into this part. I don't think they'd get up. There's no way they'd get above that. So there's no way they're going up here. But they would come into this lower part just to be sheltered, right? And protected. Isn't that pretty? Wow. Here's the pond, the feeder pond. Now the far end is the deep part. From what I could tell from aerial footage, looked like this is all weeds in the summertime, but can't hurt to take a cast and give it a try. There go the ducks. Look at the ducks, Remy. You going for a swim? Getting to go for a swim, your first good swim of the year. Oh my goodness. What a good girl. Do you think you can get up here? Is the water nice, baby? Yeah? Good girl. Well, that's the pond. I don't think I'm gonna go there. I just don't feel like walking all the way around, then walking back. And then in like an hour and a bit, bushwhacking out of here another 2.5, 3 kilometers. Doesn't sound too enjoyable. So I'll keep at it down at the first lake, and we'll just say that I've been here. I touched the water to this pond, so head down to the original plan and keep at it and try a little bit more. It's probably about 1:30 now, so give it another hour, hour and a half, and then head out of here. Get in. Good. Sit. While I'm switching it up here, I'm gonna go right over the middle of the lake for a couple reasons. One, see how deep it is. And two, maybe they're out in the middle of the lake. Who knows? So far I found 38 feet, 39, 40 feet here. So I've gone back and forth across the middle of the lake now a couple times. I stuck just deeper than what I did my first pass. Tried to map it out a little bit better on with the deeper. 62 feet I hit, and there is a ton of spots in here over 40. Between 40 and 60, probably 60% of the lake. So there's no shortage of water. I can't believe it's that deep. I didn't expect that. I thought it might have hit 30 or maybe 40, but yeah, 60 some feet of water, and that was just what I marked. Well, we're closing in on 3 o'clock. I've just been puttering around out deeper now, trying to map out some of the lake. I think I will be back at some point in the future just because of the rumors, but it's looking like we're gonna be ending this episode on a big old bust, so too bad, so sad. Kind of not the way I was hoping to end season 1, but you know what? That's the whole point, right? It's Brookies or bust. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed season 1 of this series. Lyle and I are going to begin filming season 2 in about a week. So a little over a week, and we'll be getting at it again. So season 2 will be coming at you again next April. We really appreciate all of the continued support from everybody. And this has been a fun adventure for us. It's been a great way for us to get out and try some new lakes that we weren't sure about, right? And so out of the 5, I guess we had 3 that were busts and 2 that were a success. 1, if you haven't seen it, episode 2, major success. And then episode 4 was, well, a couple fish, right? And there's fish in there, so We know that that's a lake that we can always go back to. It had small ones, maybe it has big ones, and Lyle just didn't get any. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Brendan Sawalski, and this is the Average Joe's Fishing Show. Don't forget to subscribe.